Mortgage defaults to increase. Let's have a look. Hello everyone, I'm Florian.Heise and welcome to another episode of HeiseSays. I have my stein of coffee that I'm working through and I thought we'd have a look at this article from the Financial Review. Essentially a follow-up to our previous video that we looked at, which was discussing, well, the record increase in people refinancing their mortgages and the toughest mortgage conditions or loan conditions in 30 years. So here, reporter Duncan is telling us, Duncan Hughes, that borrowers brace for more mortgage pain and debt counselors fear low mortgage arrears are the calm before the storm as the official end to financial support packages looms in September. This is the problem. This is the cliff. Right now, we're not actually experiencing the reality of this recession, everyone. We're not. Government has, well, they're supporting so many people, so many businesses, there's so much intervention in the market that we haven't really experienced it. We've seen reports and articles of some people are actually better off now than before the recession. What does that tell you about the quality of life of some people? If just the government, JobKeeper is putting them in a better position than before. This Australia is still the lucky country, everyone. So Simon Levy deferred mortgage repayments on his Queensland seaside apartment in March because he wanted to preserve cash for other family needs after losing his long-term job as a project manager. Another one with a project manager deferring their mortgage repayments. I don't understand. We had a look at an ABC article about this. Project managers earn good money, okay? They earn good money. I know everyone in the construction game, we pay them out that they're pretty much just the email forwarding service, but someone has to do it. And a good project manager is worth their gold. I've actually never encountered a project manager working in construction that actually has used the PMI BOK process, but good ones can really help a project go ahead, and you need them. But they're meant to be on good coin. They're meant to be on good coin, on six-figure plus. So you're hoping these people, these professionals, would have something stashed aside, would have an emergency fund. But I mean, it's just not part of Australian culture, isn't it? Is the idea of having an emergency fund part of Australian culture? You'd hope. One of the advantages of having a multicultural nation is that we would learn from all of the Asian cultures that have come over here, that we would adopt some of their long-term planning strategies. Seriously, we need to. We need to learn from them. To stash aside, to save for a rainy day. They're bloody good at it. I know it's a stereotype. I don't care. It's true. Seriously, you'd think we would, but it just, is this the wake-up call we need? Have we had it too good for too long? I think that's the real problem. Everyone's gotten complacent. What do you reckon, everyone? So it's been a nerve-wracking time because I couldn't be sure what was going to happen with finding new work, says Levi, father of a 10-year-old. My main concern became preserving cash to look after the family. The pandemic and the lockdowns have created a lot of employment uncertainty in the workforce, particularly the prospect of getting another job, he said. So he's building up a cash reserve. Maybe he's just taking advantage of it. To build up a cash reserve. Levi, who has been paying off $225,000 in an ING standard variable mortgage of his 3-bedroom Margate apartment for the past decade, specializes in building foundations for infrastructure projects. So, $225,000, that's nothing. His repayments should be nothing. Well, what's he talking? Be under $300 a week, the minimum repayment. Why would you bother? I don't understand. Or is this just he doesn't have any reserve on a mortgage that small? His previous employer of 20 years laid off half its staff after project completion in Australia and Asia were not replaced by new work. But he's an experienced PM. He should be able to find other opportunities, you'd hope. $225,000, mate, that's nothing. That should be... I don't understand. What type of saving are we talking here? $600 a week? That scares me more than anything. If he had like a $500,800,000 mortgage, sure, I'd understand why he might be in the edge, but okay. Dejan Denjovic A senior financial counselor for the National Debt Hotline, a not-for-profit service, says job losses like Levi's are increasing due to the pandemic and associated economic slowdown. Well, yeah, we're entering a recession. Unemployment is sitting at over 7%, according to ABS. Unemployment and underemployment, according to the Roy Morgan data, is close to a quarter of the workforce. This is much more frightening than the GFC, she said, who has been a debt counselor for more than 20 years. People from all sorts of backgrounds are fearful of the future. Many were just managing to hold their finances together. This pandemic will tip them over the edge. So some people were too close to the edge. They were too close to the edge. The number of calls to the National Debt Hotline about mortgage stress has not increased, potentially due to government financial assistance and creditor deferral of mortgages and hardship arrangements. But the number of visits to its website has gone up nearly 50% since March. I think that would be a pride thing, actually. This is the calm before the storm. Once the government assistance and bank deferral packages end, a lot of people are going to be in a lot of financial pain, she said. Counsellors are taking more calls from people who have never had to seek help before and have never been unemployed before. I mean, there's the thing. What's the longest you've ever been unemployed? Some people, probably a day. You know, if your business lets you go or they've slowed down, you make a few phone calls, you find work in the 2-week period. That happened to me as a student. You know, in the period of working on, I could just find other work. Times have changed. Preliminary investigations suggest up to 1 in 5 home loan borrowers who have asked for a repayment holiday during the pandemic are in deep financial stress. So the effect of the pandemic. Analysts claim low headline numbers for arrears do not reflect the true picture. S&P Global Ratings say arrears on non-conforming mortgages rose to about 4.4% in March compared to 4% a month earlier, while prime mortgages remained unchanged at 1.4%. But analyst Erin Kitson says the small increase does not reflect the effect of the pandemic on home ownership, particularly in areas affected by this year's bushfires and drought. Digital Finance Analytics, an independent financial analysis company, good old Martin North, estimates home buyer mortgage stress rose sharply by more than 39% at the end of June, an increase of nearly 4% compared to the previous month. For property investors, the number in stress is more than 50%. Property always goes up. Martin, what's going on? You know, these are as good as houses. Isn't that what they're saying? DFA's analysis is based on a cash flow survey of 52,000 households. If the net income flows are lower than the net payment outflows, households are classified as stressed, Martin says. Just think about that. If you're spending more money than you have coming in, you're in stress. It's pretty simple, isn't it? It's pretty simple. This equates to 1.47 million owner-occupier mortgage holders under financial pressure and 1.7 million households in rental accommodation. More than 820,000 property investors are in difficulty. Unemployment jumped to more than 7% in June from just over 5% in March, with many economists expecting the rate to move higher, especially when JobKeeper ends. Dash Singh, a shift manager for Chili of India, an Indian restaurant in Melbourne's Dockland, says it's going to get even tougher in Melbourne because of its return to lockdown. Singh says his business receipts were already down about 60% and half his staff had been laid off before Victoria's return to lockdown, many of whom are dependent on the income to pay mortgages. I thought it might be easier when the first lockdown was lifted, he said, but the reintroduction of stage 3 restrictions across Melbourne and surrounding areas will make it a challenge for the business and remaining staff. It will be pretty tough to survive, he says, about the impact on businesses and personal finances. According to Finder.com, which monitors fees and rates, mortgage repayments on up to 320,000 loans were set to resume at the end of the 3-month holiday payment up to the end of July. Simon Levy is planning to resume repayments despite ING announcing an additional 4-month payment pause extension. He's found another job as a project manager. So it's probably, hopefully, good old Simo here, Simon, will build up enough reserve, will get the 6 months aside for his family and cut costs like anything. You know. But other families have no option but to extend their mortgage, says Graham Cooks, Finder's Insight Manager. The large volume of deferrals is proof that Aussies don't have emergency funds. Yeah, they don't. We do not. We do not. It's not part of our culture. It's been good for nearly 30 years. There's a generation that have never experienced tough times in their entire time in the workforce. Lenders continue cracking down on new lending, even as they extend payment deferrals to borrowers who have suffered a loss of income or employment due to the pandemic. Suncorp is set to announce it has reduced the maximum loan-to-value ratio for construction loans from 95% to 90%. Mortgage brokers claim such changes could hit borrowers planning to apply for the federal government's home builder scheme, which offers owner-occupiers up to $25,000 towards renovating a property. So there we have it, everyone. Mortgage defaults and mortgage stress to increase. What do you think? Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments below. Do you think Australians just need to learn to have their own emergency reserve? Do you think it'll ever happen? Or do you think, big daddy government will come and take care of us all the time? Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. If you're a fan and want to support us, there are a few ways you can. You can join us on YouTube or Patreon. You can support us via using our affiliate links at Amazon, eBay, Independent Reserve, or Kucoin. You can buy merch from HeiseSays, use Gold Pass from the Perth Mint, or support us via PayPal. Thanks, everyone. I'll see you in the next episode.